Hello and welcome back to BrosBTalking. It's our House of Dragon review. We're on episode 3. I'm joined today by
Toby,
and I'm
and
Bobby.
we're on season 2.
Season 2, episode 3. Yep.
So we'll almost jump straight into it. What did you think of the episode?
I thought it was good. It was good. It starts off with the Blackwoods and Brackens, which we saw in season 1, getting into sword fights. Still getting into sword fights.
So when I watched it, okay, I was a little bit, because I was listening to them arguing with each other, and you can obviously see both sides of the argument. But one thing that I was a bit confused at, that you obviously see before they start beefing the groups of guys, and then you see the one that pulled the sword with a sword going through his neck, and with all the dead bodies around.
Yeah, it was his sword. It was the sword he was fiddling around was plunged through his own neck.
Yeah. So, I didn't notice that. I did notice they did a close up on the sword, but I thought it was more just of like it was just how gruesome it was. But that was a good eye from you. I didn't quite catch that. But I thought that by that that Rhaenyra's team won, not Alicent's team. But then when they're talking about it at the small council with the king, they talk about it as if they won. But then, as the Lannister says, he's there like, well, both sides took heavy casualties. I don't think we can really call it a victory.
Yeah, I to be honest, I think it's sort of implied that nobody really won. It was just like a random skirmish that just involved hundreds of men, and tons of them died over some waystones which mark your territory. So it'll probably be like on this side of the stone is in Bracken territory, this side's Blackwood, and
it is crazy. It is crazy that isn't it crazy that someone tries to take 2 steps in the wrong direction, and then people are like, "Nah, that's war. We're having war."
Yeah, exactly. I reckon the Bracken killed the Blackwood. That was like, oh, you wouldn't dare. I reckon he did kill him, and they ran away.
Just got punished for it.
Yeah, and then the other Blackwoods, well, the sort of goons of the Blackwoods ran away. They ran away, and then they came back with more men, and the others came back with more men, and it just escalated from there. But ultimately, yeah, no one won. The mill burnt down. Name of the episode: Burning Mill, Battle of the Burning Mill.
Yeah, so we then go to Rhaenyra and Rhaenys, that is the grandmother.
Yep.
And they are. Are they at a funeral themselves? I was getting so confused. So many people are dropping at the moment.
Yeah, so Eric and Arik are getting buried together.
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, because she's basically saying that we can't blame him for keeping his oath. Now, she actually said something that I mentioned in Rhaenys mentioned something that I mentioned in the last review of episode 2 of the four things that could have started the war. Was it when the child was beheaded?
Yeah.
Or was it when Aemond killed Luke? Or was it when Luke took Aemon's eye?
Yeah.
Or was it when Rhaenyra's throne was taken?
Yeah, you hit on the head there. So,
just out of curiosity, out of those 4 options, which one, in your eyes, actually started the war? Because I think that it almost depends on how you view someone starting the war. Do you do it as who lays the foundation, or who puts on the last log before it catches fire?
I understand the thinking behind it all. I think the war was started when they took Rhaenyra's throne, though. From a tactical, as a historian, that's when you'd write that the war started, isn't it? In the history books that Joffrey and people are reading.
I think I'd have to agree with you there on the historic books, but I think if you were to ask me when it started, I actually think it was when Luke took Aemon's eye.
Oh, see, but that sort of thing must have happened all the time in medieval places.
But I know what you mean, like, but that was a big thing in the sense of they were like they were princes and stuff, that they had guards and stuff, and that's why the king like lost his shit when it happened. He was there like, if they were like peasants and stuff like that, he could understand why there wasn't people to break it up, or stop it. And it was very gruesome, and it is like a massive trait in Aemon's character is his crystal blue eye with the scar.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, no, I think you could be correct there. We then moved on to probably our least favourite character on the BrosBTalking, Sir Kristen, and he went and sat in the hand seat that I thought was quite like a powerful image, and I liked how. I will give him some props. I did like how he was like wearing the armor, because I was like, that's actually like, you very rarely have a badass hand.
Yeah, true.
And I was like, that could come in handy at some point. If he's by the king, and they might have a different Kingsguard now, so you'd have an extra Kingsguard and Sir Kristen.
Yeah, and he's not happy with the new Kingsguard, is he? Because freaking Aegon just promoted all his mates, which seems really dumb. So they're all just like lazing around, aren't they? And he's like, guys, come on.
Yeah, well, no, 100%. And I think that the king sort of has a bit of a weird relationship with them as well, because he goes from being like buddies with them to being there like, no, I am your king.
Well, exactly. Well, it would be weird being mates with the king, because like if he got pissed off, you can't just be like, mate, take a chill pill. Like,
Well,
he is the king.
I was about to say it's like later on in the episode when they're like joking around, and all of a sudden the king just sort of death stares him, and then he's like, "Yes, your grace." And like, all of a sudden, like, oh shit, yeah, no, I forget. He's not always just like one of the boys. So yeah, no, I did sort of find that interesting. The other note I wrote down for this scene, the only other note I had for this scene was this: the small council still don't seem to be on the same page.
No, and sort of order has broken down, hasn't it? Everyone's talking over each other or getting carried away, not involving everyone else at the table.
Did you hear the Lannister guy having a go at the Citadel guy, going like, "Oh, where's your like your robe or your badge in war and stuff like that?" I'm telling you, I'm still sensing that big betrayal. I think he's going to be the deciding. Like, he will have a critical bit of information, because think about it, he knows where everything is and what's going on.
Yeah, true.
And they don't have any, and the Citadel, they're sort of like known for not really having any ties to people. Like, they're not exactly have like the wife and kids and go out for battle and glory. It's all about like they spend their time like using their knowledge and stuff.
Yeah.
And almost being like the King's Landing's Google.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Maesters are, aren't they? They're basically your Google.
Yeah, they would not have been happy when they found out about Alexa.
No. But Aegon and Aemon, Aegon and Cole, they all want open warfare, don't they? They just want to go in now and capture the Riverlands, put all the traitor houses as they see it to the torch.
I do think that is going to come and bite them in the ass. I think that they are so eager to get these punches off and to properly start it, that I could almost like in the boxing, I could see them just getting countered. Like, they're so eager for it.
Yeah.
That, and Rhaenyra's team's been like, sitting back and like planning stuff, and I know that they all sort of want to go to war, but Rhaenyra's been very much like, no, we're gonna stay back. And yeah, well, she's been calm as of yet.
Yeah, she has.
What did you make of Rhaenyra and the sea snakes conversation?
The white snake. I did see her
name
earlier.
The white snake. Sorry, that's the one.
It's like Melvin or something. I could Google it, but I don't want to do it now. So Rhaenyra is chatting to her. She does cover the fact that she did notice it was his twin, and she did try and tell the guards. She was like, "No one believed me." which I'd be like a bit of a cop out there. Like you knew there was an assassin that had wandered past, and what you said to one guard.
Well, no, I would almost go the other way. If I was Rhaenyra, I'd be like, can you tell me which guards you went and told, please?
Yeah, yeah,
Because then just go up to them and just be there like, did you not think to maybe just run it by me? Like,
yeah.
it does sort. There is sort of some sense of that, but I do, as I said at the end of that episode, I almost think that them both killing each other off, it sort of ruined that whole aspect. So I'm not really that bothered because that's the end of both their story arcs.
Yeah, yeah. It kind of just suicided
That's
into
sad
each
because
other.
I think that they both could have had a big part to play. Like, I thought initially when I saw what had happened, I was like, I could imagine Sir Criston killing the twin and then the other twin turning on Sir Criston because he's like, nah, you just killed my brother.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? That's what I had going on in my head, and then it went completely different. And then she also spoke to Rhaenyra.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, and Rhaenyra is one of Damien's daughters, but the one without the dragon.
Oh no, it's Rhaena.
Rhaena, sorry, that's the one. It's because, well, I've written them all down, but they all look the same. Rhaenyra. I'm pretty sure I spelt them all the same as well.
Lots of R's, H's, and A's.
Yeah, I
E's.
just done like Rhenya. I don't know. I'm dyslexic, all right. But yeah, no, I thought that was a bit of an interest, but she still had sort of respect for the Queen, but it was very begrudgingly like, yeah, okay, cool.
Well, you wouldn't want to get left out, would you? At this stage, like everything's ramping up. You feel like you're a bit of a unit. You know, you're chatting to your family. Jace, because isn't she with Jace, or is Baylor with Jace?
I don't think that's the one with the dragon is the one I believe has the thing with what's his name again?
Jace.
With Jace, but
Jace,
I don't know if they're actually together.
I thought they were betrothed.
I didn't think they was. I thought it was almost like an unsort of spoken love thing.
Okay. Well, we'll have to look that up, but
yeah. Well, as the episodes go on, I'm sure. But just a little bit of an out there thing, not even on my notes. Bit of an out there thought was, I wonder if the one with the dragon might perish.
What, the one Rhaena going off to Pentos?
No, the one with the dragon
Baylor.
is staying. That's the one that's keeping an eye on King's Landing.
Yes, yeah.
And then the other one is leaving with skipping a little bit, but obviously we won't cover in a sec. But is the one leaving?
Yeah.
To Pentos.
Well, I have an idea.
Okay.
Right. What happens if Rhaena and the others who are taking the dragon eggs to Pentos? What happens if they die and the remaining 3 eggs are? Oh no, because does Rhaenyra does she have the eggs when she goes to Pentos? I can't remember. She doesn't have them the whole time, does she? She gains the 3 eggs as like a gift.
What, in Game of Thrones?
Yeah, in Game of Thrones.
In Game of Thrones, no, she gets given them in like the first episode as a gift in her and Khal Drogo's wedding.
What happens if those eggs? What happens if Rhaena sadly dies and some of those eggs end up as that gift?
That would be awesome, and I'd maybe see that happening towards the end. But I don't. There is 4 eggs. There was 4 eggs.
Yeah, but one going missing is not crazy.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I think that's a good out there call. We then go into an awesome scene with. At first, I didn't really know what was going on, but it was Daemon on his dragon going to Harrenhal.
Yeah. He was almost like a Lord of the Rings scene, wasn't it? As he was going through the ancient forgotten castle.
And I love how he did all of that just to walk in to basically like punch one guard and then was like, I'm taking it over, and the guy was like, yep, fair enough. And to be fair, I think that guy was actually quite happy because when they were talking, he was very much like, he was like, Lord Varys is no lord of mine.
Yeah, Laris.
Like, he was like, do you not find it odd that they burnt in this damp old place?
Yeah, and it was very damp. It was very damp.
So I think it was interesting, and we learned that it was the biggest castle. We also learned that it'd been attacked before and burnt with dragonfire.
Yeah, by Aegon the Conqueror. He blew it up.
Yes, yeah, and we're learning, like, obviously we'd heard of Aegon the Conqueror before, but definitely in this time period, like, a lot more about him. Like, that he was a badass.
Yeah.
What did you like? Obviously, I loved the scene, but there wasn't too much. I had like notes on it, just beautifully filmed and good suspense.
It was really cool. Yeah, like you said, I was a bit confused at the start, but I've just written down here. Daemon goes on a side quest.
I wrote Daemon's adventure.
Yeah. Yeah, so I thought it was pretty cool. I think he was surprised himself with how well it went. He was. I don't know why does he keep doing things on his own. I'd be like, man, just take like 6 more dudes. Take a Kingsguard with you. Why are you wandering around on your own?
I tell you what, him and Sir Kristen would have got on really well if they were on a team. They'd have been like, right, let's go.
Yeah. The dragon would have flown over the castle and like dropped Sir Christian in, like tactical insertion.
Right, then we go off to King's Landing. That I actually feel that this could be not a favourite character, but definitely like a character I like. We met Alicent's brother. Now I'm not sure we'd ever met him before.
No, we haven't. We have. Oh no, we have. But he was in the joust and he got dehorsed by Daemon.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think. Or that's a different high tower. But there was a high tower in the very first episode of season 1.
Yeah, but wasn't that Sir Kristen beating David?
Oh yeah, no, it might have. No. There was a high tower that I think Daemon cheats and he takes out his horse from underneath him.
Yes, no, I remember what
and
you
he brags,
what you were on about that.
He brags to Otto, doesn't he, about it? He's like, "Oh, what a shame." But I don't know if that was like a different brother or not. I'm not sure.
Well, either way, we get fully introduced to the guy, and I already quite like him. He definitely seems to know what the fuck's going on. Like,
he's a high tower, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Like he knows what's going on, and I think it's good to have someone like Otto that can fight.
Yeah. Though he's a bit of a prick.
I know. A little bit of an out there guess. I know quite a few this review is I could see, because we haven't seen this yet properly. Is we haven't seen anyone properly taken prisoner.
No, true.
The only person that slightly got was prisoner was Rhaenys, and then she escaped from the bloody dragon. So, and that wasn't for long at all.
Yeah, no. She, if anything, that was actually a bad move, even leaving her alive. she killed a lot of people in the sept.
Yeah, no, but like Damon's obviously annoyed at her because she could have killed everyone, but then she would have been the bad person because all the bad things that are going to follow wouldn't have happened if she burnt them. So then people would almost be like, well, that was a little bit mad.
Yeah, she could have taken the dive and just killed all the enemies.
Yeah, but I agree with her. It wasn't her wall to start. We get a few back and forth with Alicent, her brother, and Sir Kristen.
Yep.
Sir Kristen's had a haircut, so new man. You know, he sorted the rotor out. He's got him and his boys going.
Yep. Yeah, he's got his rotor sorted.
Yeah, he got the rotor sorted, and then they march out. And I'm not gonna lie, looked like a pretty decent army, but I can't help to think taking a dragon wouldn't have been the worst idea.
No, I know. I think they've missed the point of sort of weapons of mass destruction, haven't they? And like deterrence, nuclear deterrence. If they had a dragon, then the other dragons wouldn't go near it because they wouldn't want to, 1, kill a dragon, and 2, risk their dragon dying. So you'd basically have a
exactly.
defense.
a much bigger risk. Like if somebody just on a dragon bumps into a dragon and an army, it might like go, all right, I'm not going to deal with this. But if the dragon just meets an army, it might just be able to burn a few of them and just fly off. Doesn't need to stay there for the entire fight.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that all looked cool, but what worried me is we then went off to Rhaenyra's small council, and they seem to be as off the same page as the one in King's Landing.
Yeah, she needs to lay down the law to them a little bit, doesn't she, and yell at them.
Yeah, and I think that, and like she's told them that she's heard them.
Yeah.
And she's going to listen to them, and then we. But yeah, I feel that we need to see what happens with Daemon and this army. I believe he's going to get it, but yeah. I don't know. We'll get on to Damien in a second. I was about to say the thing I've written down here, but we'd already sort of like touched on it. But just to sort of mention it again, obviously, because we're going through the episode, is Rhaenyra does give away 4 eggs and the 2 smallest dragon and 2 of her smallest children that she has with Daemon.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, so they kind of take all the younger people out. All the youngest dragons are removed as well because they've still got a dragon advantage, I think, even with the loss of Ajax or whatever he's called.
They're so setting it up for like there's going to be quite a few deaths. And I think Rhaenyra knows that they're going to take a few. Not all the dragons are going to survive. Whilst I'm on the dragons, I didn't write this down, so this is a bit out there. But later on, when Rhaenyra's talking to the White Snake,
yeah,
they're looking at the dragon that was Rhaenyra's late husband's. Yes. And it's like, oh, it's restless. I was thinking that, and she's like, oh, maybe he's lonely. And I'm thinking, I still think he's alive and he could come back in and he'd be a dragon rider.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
And if he knows that his sons that weren't his sons, but it definitely when he like, if his dad dies or something like that, because obviously his brother's already been cut in half by Daemon.
Yeah.
That was a brutal scene. But yeah, that just whilst I was saying that, I feel that might have been a little nod to he might still be alive because the dragon was going around restless.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think that's.
And I think as well, it was a sort of I think Rhaenyra's feeling a bit lonely too, because Daemon is kind of a little bit of a loose cannon. Like she was hoping things would be better with Daemon, I think, as her husband. He was fine, and then war kicked off, and now he's like, I do what I want.
Yeah, and also I've got to say that, like, with the fact that Daemon has got a dragon,
yeah,
that does help him. Rhaenyra in that situation of he can go off on a one-man mission instead of just taking a boat and a few men out and seeing what you can, what you're able to do. I had a little side note, and I said I think that the bye between the sisters will be the last one before one of them die.
Yeah.
So, and that was something that I'd obviously touched on a little bit earlier, but yeah, I do believe that.
And Jace, I noticed in my second time watching it, because I quickly watched it again. I kind of skipped through it a little bit, but as Rhaenyra kind of like, as the camera pans to Rhaenyra as they're like leaving, and it's like a sunset, it's like a very final goodbye. I know what you mean, but Jace is standing awesomely with like a red cloak in the middle of the courtyard, like looking longingly at them as they're going, and I just thought it was really funny that he's having like an epic moment. And then the camera isn't even focusing on him. He's like, I'll do this for my family. I've got this, and it's like it just pans to Rhaenyra, and you're like, what? He had a power pose going with his cloak billowing behind him.
I feel like there could definitely be some foreshadowing going on in this episode.
Yeah, definitely.
And I do love that. Talking about foreshadowing, go on to one of my favourite characters, Helena. Doesn't have a massive part in this episode, but she basically forgives Alicent.
Yes.
And I think that was very, very sweet. she also was there like, oh, like I'm sad about Jaehaerys, but like like people die all the time, definitely babes. And then she was like, oh, when I saw those people being sad, is I thought that they had more right to be sad than I do because look where I am and stuff. And I think that that's why she's one of my favorite characters. Very spiritual, and I feel that like me and you have discussed it, and I think on the BrosBTalking we are very much of the mindset of she is not chatting shit. Listen to her when she's talking.
Yes, we are. Yeah, she has a bit of precognition, doesn't she? All in my notes just say Alicent and Helena have a chat. Helena freaks Alicent out. She does, doesn't she? Alicent leaves the conversation like more like guilty and worried than when she joined it. Initially, she was like, "Oh, don't worry, it's not your fault. I'm sorry about all this." And Helena's like, "Yes, you know, babies die all the time. I forgive you for shagging Cole and
Do
causing my
you
baby to
think?
die."
Do you think because Alicent gave Sir Kristen like her handkerchief and stuff? Do you think that Alicent will carry on with Sir Kristen, or do you think she'll stop and be there like, look, I've already been forgiven once. I don't want to do it again. I think it's going to be like a Ross and Rachel out of Friends situation, on and off again.
I think she's gonna stop. That's my prediction. Just to
He will not be a happy bunny if that happens.
I know. Well, we know what he was like last time. He wasn't getting laid regularly.
Well,
He was a
yeah,
nightmare. He killed a man with his bare hands.
What did you make of I just put the man chatting shit about being the brother of Daemon and the late king, and then I've just put a big question mark because I don't know why, but I know he's meant to come across as somebody that's like Billy Big Bollocks of town, chatting away, but I almost believe him.
Yeah, I mean, I, they were like the kings do shag a lot of prostitutes.
Like, yeah, it's not like he's like, oh, I'm the rightful thing of this. He's just there, like, yeah, like I am one of them, but like, I'm not entitled to anything.
Yeah, I'm willing to believe him too, but then it also might be a lie. But it kind of sets him up because then I think because Rhaenyra asks the White Snake if she can get into King's Landing after she gives the White Snake a a place on her council. They kind of both get Masters of Whispers, don't they? Like Aegon officially promotes Laris to Master of Whispers, and Rhaenyra promotes Melvin, the White Snake, to
Yeah.
sort of Master of Whispers.
Who's so? Just out of curiosity, who do you think's got the better Master of Whisperers?
Laris is probably slightly better, but
Yeah,
overall,
I would have to go with Lara just because of what he has at his disposal.
well, he technically burnt the White Snake's house, so he has like is 1-0 to him at the moment in the
Yeah,
war.
but she does want revenge, but
She's really good at getting people into King's Landing. She got Daemon in. She got Rhaenyra. It's like her specialty is King's Landing. She's the best.
well, that's what she even says to her. She's like, I know everything that goes on there, so I can help you in there. But obviously, if something was to happen to her, then she's not going to be able to know as much of the movements. Are we now fully on board that she is Team Rhaenyra, not actually playing a really good double agent?
Yes, but I will say she still might be on a team on her own.
Okay, I'm very 80%. I trust her, so we'll sort of see how that plans out. What did you then make of the king taking his squire to go lose his virginity and walking in on Aemond and his first?
Well, can I just say that Aegon he was like, no guys, you're meant to be sworn to chastity and you really shouldn't be drinking on the job. And all the guys shut up, and then they all look worried. Then it's like hard cut. He's out with them. He's drinking. He's obviously the most drunk as well, which is funny. I see a lot of myself in Aegon in that moment.
Yeah,
saying no.
that'd be me and Elliot that you just sort of go, no, you guys are like sworn to that. We're like, oh shit, yeah, and then you're like,
Yeah,
"Oi!"
then it hard cuts to us in the tavern, and I'm obviously the most drunk, even though I was the one that didn't want to go out. I'm stumbling around. I'm opening curtains to prostitutes constantly. Yeah, I thought. I mean, the only thing I've written down here is that he has a really weird alien-like body.
Yeah, no, I get it, but what I sort of like the fact that he is such a fierce warrior. Got thing that, but they showed him in a vulnerable position. But then I
Yeah,
actually said anyone walks out naked in brackets power move,
it is
because
a
that
power
is a bit
move.
of a power move. Just like he was just like he was his brother was trying to embarrass him. That I'm not being funny. When you're about to go to war and your brother's your biggest ride or die, and he's fucking sick on and off the dragon, maybe let's not piss him off.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that, but then it's older brother syndrome where you just got to embarrass them.
Yeah, I guess so, but yeah, no, I don't know. It was a weird one, but I know there was lots of people were like outraged online about there was an erect penis on TV, and I'm there like, but they don't seem. I was there like, but yeah, but there was loads of like tits and all of that around as well. Like it was
Yeah, they pushed
everything
the
was
mark.
everywhere. Like it was a brothel, and like I've got to say in House of Dragon, they they don't like push the nudity as much as they did in Game of Thrones. It's like there when it needs to be, but they're very good at not having to just shove it in your face all the time. That makes it being able to watch it with like family members a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah, and it was quite a quick scene. Like,
Yeah, it was,
wasn't
yeah,
that?
exactly. It's one of those that if you like looked at your phone for a second, you could have missed it. Um, so yeah. But what we then go on to a little the scene of Alicent's brother basically sort of like power playing with Sir Kristen to sort of be like, well, I think my nephew's going to be all right with it. Like, don't worry about it, mate. Like, I know you're the hand, but I'm family. And then all of a sudden they realise they're compromised. There's a dragon. What did you make of her not engaging? Like, I know the Queen said not to, but at the same time, like she could have burnt them up.
She did the exact thing I would have done. Spook them, make sure they know that they don't, because obviously knights probably feel like big bollocks. You got to admit, like riding around with like 10 buddies, all armored, with swords and weapons, riding around a field, you're going to feel like you're unstoppable. It's the modern day equivalent of being in a tank. In World War Three, driving through a field in a tank, you're thinking, who would even come near me in a battle? But then she showed them that you guys are shit, and a child on a dragon could kill all of you before you could even react.
Well, yeah, no, it definitely did shut them up. But I don't know. So Kristen makes me laugh when he's there like, no fucking ends.
Yeah, yeah. But that again, though, in it just demonstrates. I think the guy's name's Gwaine. Actually, I've written it
Okay.
down here, but it just demonstrates how non-experienced all the other knights are, doesn't it? In
Well, yeah, and
warfare.
I think that is the case with a lot of people in Westeros. Like, if you've seen battle, you're probably very badly injured or you're dead.
Well, yeah, and like if you're in enemy territory or if you're unsure of where the loyalties lie, you don't go to an inn and say, "Yes, I am the son of Otto Hightower, brother to the queen that has a lot of enemies right now." Anyway, I'd like to stay in the biggest room. Is that room 11? Yep, yep. Thank you. I'm in this inn. Let everyone know that I am in this inn. And if they capture me, they can get a lot of gold from either side in the war.
Yeah, no, I do get Sir Kristen thing, but I just think he's very hypocritical. What I like about this episode as well is it's very fast paced. Straight away, we're seeing Rhaenyra get the news.
Yeah.
And I think that she's told everyone she's going to think about it. She's given Rhaenys a little like nod. has Rhaenyra got a hand yet?
Oh, I'm not sure. I can't
If
remember.
she doesn't, Rhaenys should be her hand.
Yeah, she is a good hand, isn't she?
Yeah, I think she's very, a very wise hand. And side note, I could also see her husband dying. He thinks he's still that, but he's a lot older, and a lot more injured than he used to be.
Yeah.
So yeah. Then we go on to a very spooky scene. Again, beautiful camera work. We go into Damon's dream, where you're not really sure what's going on at first, but then you see Rhaenyra, but the younger actress of when she was younger, and she's sewing back the baby's head that got decapitated. And I've just put here that Damon feels bad about what happened with the baby.
Yeah, he does. He does. I've written here he trips balls, probably because of all the mold in damp Harrenhal.
Well, yeah, and he's been by himself like a lot, and he didn't eat as well. Do you know? Because he refused to because he was there like, well, that's one way to kill a dragon rider, just poison him.
Yeah, yeah.
That again is very like smart that he did, because as much as we're like, oh, well, he's a bit of an idiot if he didn't eat. If it was poisoned, well, he's a genius because he didn't die.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it is interesting. Then I'm not sure who the woman is that talks to him. Now she says, "You will die in this place," and then my question was where though and how. Now my answer was Harrow Hall, where he is. Is that where she was on about? But there was the willow tree, and that threw me off.
Yeah, it was almost I couldn't identify where the weir tree was.
I think that might be it might be King's Landing, bro. Because remember, Rhaenyra used to sit underneath it.
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
Oh, mate, we could be wrong. In the comments, let us know we are wrong, and let us know what it is. Then we're onto the right track. And how do you think he will die? I think it's been set up for Aemond to do it.
Yeah, it is. I think I've seen a book spoiler. It's not a
Uh,
real spoiler, but it's
well, I don't want to hear any type of fake spoiler or anything.
no, not a
Just
fake spoiler, but just like I think Aemon's and Damon fight. That's what I'm gonna
yeah, no,
say.
they already built up to it in the first season. Remember when they sort of squared off a little bit when all the kids were fighting?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think that is interesting. Then we go on to the last scene that again very fast paced. Rhaenyra's like, right, let's go to see Alicent, and she goes and finds her where she was praying, the only place that she'd find her alone, and starts off the conversation not brilliantly, but holding a knife to her.
Yeah, draws a knife.
And then they basically discuss about everything that's everything that's happened, and basically realize what has happened, and it's been a misunderstanding. Like, what did you make of all of that? And did you think that Alicent was going to maybe scream out to the guards, like, because that would have been a pretty brutal way to start it?
Yeah, I mean, my first comment is the freaking security in Westeros, like 300 years before Game of Thrones, is stupidly outrageous. Everyone is sneaking somebody behind enemy lines within striking distance of someone important. I mean, the rat catcher and the gold cloak, fair enough, but
But then
they
at the
went to
same time, they can't check every. What are they going to do? Look at every poor person, and what are they even looking for? Do you know what I
well,
mean?
you know, Rhaenyra dressed up as a nun and literally pulled a knife on the queen. I mean, if they'd sent like 6 nun assassins, they probably could have wiped out the entire Targaryen family. The but but
The nuns are the key to the victory.
exactly, and if they sent like 10 more dudes with Arik, and Arik just went, "Look, I'm Eric. I vouch for these guys. Let them in." They would have probably killed way more people on the other side. But regardless, I think Alicent and Rhaenyra sort of they connected again. They chatted. She didn't immediately call for guards, which I don't think she would do. And I also,
but so she almost was there, like they almost let each other live. Like, right, you can walk away. I'm not going to scream guards and get you killed. Like, we both know what's really happened here, but let's be honest. Our sons want to kill each other, and it's, you know what I mean. Our families we're already at war. The Targaryens have already imploded in on each other. So yeah, I do think it's very, very, very interesting. But now we've heard all bits of it. Have you changed your mind maybe at all of Team Alicent, Team Rhaenyra, or are you? Where are you swaying towards now? Like,
well, I've pretended to be Team Alicent to be a counter to your hard on for Daemon, but I am at heart Team Rhaenyra.
I'm hard for Daemon.
I am hard for Cole. No, I think it was interesting. Again, I think it was kind of foreshadowed. Do you remember when Rhaenyra and Alicent were young, and basically Rhaenyra didn't want to study her histories, and Alicent was like, "You need to learn your histories. Come on!" And then Alicent forgetting that Aegon the Conqueror is another Aegon that the king could have been talking about when he was having this.
That's a very good spot. I do like that.
You know what I mean? When it's like Aegon the Conqueror and Alicent's like, oh shit, yeah, there was a really important guy in history that was like prophesized to bring order and stuff, who had the same name as my son. So maybe he was talking about him, not my son. Shit. Not my Belen son. That was a dickhead when he was a kid.
So wrapping up the review, what is your score out of 10 for this episode?
I'm going to give it a 7.4.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 8.1. There was a lot in there. And I think that the camera work in Daemon scenes are not like they need to be like appreciated. And I like how quick things happened, and you didn't seem to question why it was happening so quick. My last question for you is: do you have any quick predictions for next week's episode?
So you got the Cole and Gwain's host arriving at Harrenhal probably. So there might be a bit of a face off there. I reckon it's about time we have dragon on dragon violence.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you there. I'd actually go one step further. I'd go a step further and say we're going to see some deaths.
Yes, yeah.
And I think they might not just be pointless people. I think they're going to be people that we know, and we're like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so thank you very much for listening. Make sure you hit that like button. Comment underneath who your favourite character is and what your thoughts are on this episode. And be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you.
Thank you.